read that.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, December 9th, 2024 open session meeting for the Kent County Public Schools Board of Education. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda for this evening's meeting. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Rhodes has a second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. The agenda is approved as presented. The next item is to move into closed session. The Kent County Public Schools Board of Education members, this board, Dr. Mary McComas, the superintendent, Dan Hushin, supervisor of human resources, Adam Costas, legal counsel, and Gail Manley, executive assistant to the superintendent, will move to closed session under general provisions Article 3-305B for 4 topics. The first topic is 3-305B1. That topic is applicants for new hires, resignations, volunteers, transfers, extra pay, extra duty, and any other personnel matters. The reason for this being a closed session topic is that public discussion of applicants and employee names and personal information could discourage people from working for the board and contain sensitive personal and biographical information. Personnel information is protected from disclosure under the MPIA. The second section of 4 is 3-305B7. The topic is to obtain legal advice regarding the ethics complaint process. The reason that this is in closed session is the substance of discussion is protected by attorney-client privilege. The third topic is 3-305B7 to obtain legal advice regarding 4-205 appeal process. The reason for this being a closed session topic is the substance of discussion is protected by attorney-client privilege. And the last topic this evening is under 3-305B9, where that topic is discussion of ongoing negotiations with KCPS bargaining units. And the reason this is also in closed session is to maintain the integrity of the collective bargaining process. That being said, the administration is recommending that we move into closed session. Do we have a motion to move into closed session?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Dorsey has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Sullivan has the second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. We will go into closed session and be back at approximately 6:30. Portion of tonight's meeting. This is the Kent County Public Schools Board of Education. Today is Monday, December 9th, 2024. The first item on the agenda in item 3 is to report on closed session. The Kent County Public Schools Board of Education members of this board, Dr. Mary McComas, the superintendent, Dan Hushin, supervisor of human resources, Adam Constas, legal counsel, and Gail Manley, executive assistant to the superintendent, met in closed session under General Provisions Article 3-305B. There were 4 topics that we discussed in closed session. I will go through each of them. The first topic was under Section 3-305B1. That topic was on applicants for new hires, resignations, volunteers, transfers, extra pay, extra duty, and any other personnel matters. The reason for this topic being in closed session is that public discussion of applicants and employee names and personal information could discourage people from working for the board and contain sensitive personal and biographical information. Personnel information is protected from disclosure under the MPIA. The second topic was 3-305B7. That was to obtain legal advice regarding the ethics complaint process. Reason for closed session is the substance of discussions protected by attorney-client privilege. The third topic was 3-305B7, to obtain legal advice regarding 4205 appeal process. The reason for a topic being in closed session is the substance of discussions protected by attorney-client privilege. The last topic was 3-305B9. That topic was the discussion of ongoing negotiations with KCPS bargaining units. The reason that this was also in closed session was to maintain the integrity of the collective bargaining process. The session was for information purposes only and discussion purposes only. No action was taken. Personnel actions will be voted upon by this board in Section 4 consent agenda of the meeting this evening. The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would ask that everyone please stand, and Ms. Swanson, if you could lead us. Great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. In the consent agenda, we have 2 topics. It was the approval of the minutes for the November 11th, 2024 open session meeting, as well as personnel actions. There is one topic in this consent agenda that our student member of the board is able to vote for. When we call for her vote, she'll be voting for the approval of the minutes. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. McGee. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Swanson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The motion is passed. The consent agenda is approved. The next portion of the agenda is public participation. Ms. Gale, do we have? We do. Okay, while Ms. Gale is bringing that up, we do have some rules of engagement, if you will. Speakers should limit their comments to 3 minutes. Comments about the actions or statements of individual staff members are not appropriate for public comments and should be referred to the superintendent of schools or processed through available channels. If submitting written testimony, speakers are requested to provide a copy to the president. Please remember that this is an opportunity for the community to address their comments to the board. It is not an opportunity for dialogue. If you have any questions that need an answer, please contact the superintendent or write a letter to the Board of Education, and a response will be sent back to you. I will be timing these public participation moments. 3 minutes. When I hit the timer, it will be when you first say your first word. I will give you a 30-second wave, and then when the bell goes off, your time will be up. The first person we have up here is Matthew Swanson.
Thank you, friends. It was recently Thanksgiving, and my family went around the table and expressed gratitude. And several of the gratitudes were dedicated to our fine teachers in Kent County Public Schools. And often I get comments from my kids about how much they appreciate their teachers, how much they enjoy going to school and learning with them. I want to call out in particular Patrick McColligan, who is the cross-country coach at Kent County High School, also a special education teacher there. 2 of my kids got to be on his cross-country team this year, and I just want to speak to his leadership, his attitude, his excellence as a coach, and as a guide to my kids this season. I also want to give a shout out to Mary Brown, who is a second grade teacher at the elementary school. My son Jasper and my son August both had Mary as students, and she approaches her work with such joy, such excellence, such preparation. Jasper, actually, his comment was that he was disappointed that he had to miss school the last in-service because he wasn't going to get to see Mrs. Brown that day. I want to shout out Anna Baker Farraher and Stephen Miller at the middle school. I don't know if this county could have two more lovely human beings teaching middle school gym. I think we are very blessed to have, again, people with such remarkably positive attitudes, who are such leaders, who bring such energy and presence to our kids. On the coldest mornings when I am dropping kids off to elementary school, Mr. Miller is outside helping kids cross the street with a smile and a wave when any reasonable human being would be miserable in that moment. Mr. Miller's energy shines through. And my son Augie often is grateful for Mr. James Beck at the middle school, also the soccer coach who has led Cato and August over the last couple of years. He shows up every day for those kids. He's got such a great leadership style. He is prepared, he is kind, he is patient, he's a good leader and good mentor. But Augie really appreciates, he said, Mr. Beck is the kind of teacher who every day he cares that it's interesting. And he prepares, and he really wants to make sure we're interested, and I like going to his class. And it comes up over and over again. We have a district full of dedicated, talented teachers who are bringing their best every day for these kids. They don't get enough credit, and I just want to thank them. I could have mentioned many more names tonight. Those are just a few that I've had direct experience with recently and to whom I owe a great deal. So thank you, teachers. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson.
Thanks, Ben.
Okay, the next participant, Mr. Hushin.
Thank you, President Katz, board members, Dr. Couch. Just wanted to take this time.
Dr. McComas.
Dr. McComas, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm so. Anyway. I just wanted to take the time to thank Francois Sullivan and Joe Getz. I understand that, there's going to be a formal recognition here shortly, but I just wanted to let you know that it has been a pleasure being able to work with you. I have been able to see firsthand the way you both, advocate and push and support our students and staff, and, it makes my job fun. And I am going to miss you both a great deal. I don't really think everyone truly understands the work that you have done here, but I can honestly say that it was always done with putting our students and our staff first. So on behalf of our staff and our team, I would just like to say thank you very, very much, and I hope everything that the future holds is just nothing but greatness for the both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Hushin.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, we're going to move into the superintendent's report.
So good evening. For the superintendent's report today, I want to provide just an overview and update on our community conversations. So in total, we conducted 5 community conversations across our school buildings, in addition to meeting with an all-hands-on-deck meeting. So every employee within the organization was given the opportunity to participate in the same process that we did with the community. And in addition, in the months of July and August, I met tirelessly with multiple stakeholder groups of business leaders and nonprofits throughout the summer. And so in total, we collected input, feedback, and insight into our strategic plan from approximately 450 participants. So I feel like that was a decent number of people whose voice and wisdom and insight is influencing our strategic plan. So we are in the process of analyzing all of that feedback. And as we come back from the holiday breaks in the early part of the second semester, we'll be really putting to paper a multi-year plan that will be a result of all of that work. and again, all those 450 people who participated in some way, shape, or form in that process. Second, I want to acknowledge that we just received word at the end of last week and over the weekend that we have 6 of our KCPS team members who achieved national board certification. Yes, right? We will be formally honoring them in the upcoming months in January and February with a pinning ceremony. We have to get the official pins from the national board, but I just want to recognize them initially tonight, since it's hot off the press, so to speak. Rachel Gugassian, thank you, from Galena Elementary. Sarah Brock, also from Galena Elementary. Jessica Ribabo, thank you, Galena Elementary School. Katie Hughes from Kent County Middle School. Karen Saunders from Kent County High School and Kent County Middle School. She's an ESOL teacher who travels. And we also have Melissa Walters, Kent County High School and also Kent County Middle School. So again, we'll have a more formal celebration for them, but we wanted to immediately lift them up to celebrate on what a prestigious accomplishment. And then my last update for this evening will be to provide an update on our middle school project. I'm pleased to say that in partnership with the Maryland Stating Authority, we have selected the architect firm. It is Crabtree, Robaugh and Associates. They have done work for us previously in some of our renovation programs. We are in the process of meeting with the architect firm every other week in the design process. We will be scheduling 4 community meetings in the second semester to apprise the community of updates on design ideas and to collect feedback from the community in that process. And I would also, so that's phase 1, which is the funding and the design of a new middle school building. Phase 2 is we are in the process of pursuing the funding to actually be able to build the actual middle school. And I'd like to just thank our state delegation to Annapolis, met with board leadership and myself today to discuss legislative initiatives in the upcoming legislation cycle in Annapolis. And so I just sincerely want to appreciate our full delegation, our senators and state delegates who took time out of their schedule today to meet so that we can continue to pursue the funding to make it a reality for our community. So with that being said, that concludes my report updates for this board meeting, and I wish everyone a wonderful holiday season. Before we know it, it will be the end of next week, and you'll have time with your loved ones, and I hope it's restful, enjoyable, and rejuvenating. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McComas. We'll move into the next topic on the agenda is the holiday card design.
Yes, so we do have our annual holiday card design, and we have with us this evening our student Bella Pasalis, who designed it, and we also have her teacher Teresa Jatan. Thank you. I am sorry, I'm not doing a good job this evening. So if I could get them to come up or stand up and we can recognize you. Go out tomorrow.
And Ms. Manley, am I correct to assume that it's going to be blanketed across the state and send it out to all of our friends throughout the state of Maryland? So that's really great. And I will tell you, if you get a chance, that's one of the coolest Christmas cards I've ever seen. So thank you so much.
Yes.
What a great design. Okay, we'll move into the next item on the agenda, which is the 2024 Financial Statement Audit Report. Ms. Stewart.
Good evening, members of the board, President Getz, Dr. McComas.
Good evening.
Tonight, we will be going over the 2024 financial statement audit report. This is an action item, so we are requesting, administration is requesting board approval for the report, but we do have our auditor here, Audrey McHenrick, who will, from UHY LLP, that will be presenting our financials tonight.
Great.
I know you did. I was thinking of that. And thank you for doing that.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Good evening.
Just to give you, and some of you I recognize from prior years, but just to give everybody kind of a quick overview of the audit process while Lisa passes those out, Ms. Stewart passes those out. We start the audit in usually May or June each year, with things really revving up towards the end of August, and make sure these are issued to MSDE by September 30th. Just to give everybody kind of an idea of that process, it usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks to do the audit from beginning to end. So I will draw your attention, if you have the audit report in front of you, and this would be the report that says audited financial statements.
Thicker one. Yep, the big one.
If you turn in that report to, it's the third page, which will be labeled at the top, Independent Auditors Report. Under the opinion section, the second paragraph of that opinion section is probably the most important part of the audit, where it states that in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the Board of Education of Kent County, Maryland, as of June 30th, 2024. That is a clean opinion, no issues to bring to your attention. It's the best opinion you can get. So.
Thank you. Great job.
Yep. Flipping to page number 4, and it's about, that is numbered at the bottom of that page. That is the Independent Auditor's Report on internal control over financial reporting, and that's required for audits performed under government auditing standards. And again, clean opinion, no issues to report on internal controls. And then I will just briefly go through the next section of the financial statements is the management discussion and analysis. That's done by management to just kind of give a generalized overview from year to year. Flipping to page 16 of the report, on page 16 and 17 are the statement of net position and the statement of activities. This would be your balance sheet and income statement on a full accrual basis. So that would include all debt, all capital assets would be reported on those two reports. And then on page 18 and 19 is your governmental funds balance sheet. So this is on a kind of a modified accrual, more closer to a cash basis than the full accrual. And just to highlight a couple points, everything was fairly, everything was pretty much the same from year to year. No big swings one way or the other. Total assets for the year ended up at $9.4 million with total liabilities of $5 million, leaving a total fund balance in all funds of about $4.4 million for the year. On page 20 and 21 is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. And again, this looks at your revenues and expenditures by fund. Looking at the general fund, revenues for the year, this was the first column, were about $42 million. That was up about $3 million from the prior year with expenses following suit on that. So you ended up with net change in fund balance for the general fund of about $215,000, revenues exceeding expenses. Total government funds, the net change was about $128,000. And then the next pages are your statement of fiduciary net position, which is your other post-employment benefit holdings. You hold those in a trust. And then starting on page 24 are the notes to the financial statements. And there are no significant changes in those notes from year to year. So I will draw your attention to page 54, which is your schedule of revenues, expenditures, and encumbrances budget to actual, which is usually the statement everyone is most concerned about. You will see the first two columns are your original and final budget, with then the actual column reflected to the right of those. And then you'll see over the right that variance between the final budget and actual. And again, in your revenues, you ended up with, from the state of Maryland, about $300,000 in revenues over budget, over what was budgeted. And then down under expenditures, total expenditures and encumbrances, it shows that $5,893,000, but that includes your restricted expenditures, which need to be backed out of that number. But you can see in looking, for the most part, you were under budget in in all categories. And then, so total, the excess of revenues over expenditures before other financing uses was $215,000 on that budgetary basis that includes encumbrances. And then the pages beyond that are just required supplementary information and supplementary information that we're required to include. Are there any questions on the financial statements? And then the other report you have in front of you is the audit communication, and again, we're required to provide this. No issues to report to you in that audit communication. No comments or recommendations this year to bring to your attention. We do discuss, under comments and recommendations, just new GASB requirements, things that are going to need to be added to the financials that are coming forward in years to come on the horizon type items.
Great. Are there any questions for the board? Okay.
I would just like to thank Ms. Stewart and her whole department. They make our job much easier with all the help they provide us. We send them a request and they are on it immediately, so that is much appreciated.
Well, thank you for your partnership. Ms. Stewart, thank you, and thank you to the team for the consistent work that you guys do, so really appreciate all of that. Thanks so much.
I'd like to say one thing. This is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Thank you for your time in doing this. I mean, I don't know how many hours you have in this, but this is pretty nice.
Thank you. Yep, appreciate that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, and this is an action item, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
The administration is requesting board approval for the 2024 financial statement audit. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McGee has a second. Are there any additional comments or questions? In the absence of hearing any, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ms. Swanson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The motion passes. The audit report is approved. Thank you, everyone. We'll move on to the Golden Anchor Award. Mr. Hushin.
Let's try this again. Dr. McComas, President Getz, and our school board members, tonight I am here before you to honor our December Golden Anchor, to honor an employee who has gone above and beyond in their work. Just to take a moment real quick, as we've heard a lot of positive comments about our staff and all the wonderful things they do, as a reminder to everybody that is here, that is watching, or listening online, you can nominate any employee or group of employee each month. We send out our nomination link each month. It's online. So please share more of these good stories, because even for those that may not win, we do send postcards to our staff to let them know what others are saying about them. So without further ado, tonight, we would like to honor one of our instructional assistants whose dedication and support of our multilingual families throughout each of our community conversations did not go unnoticed. Her commitment to ensuring all voices were heard and influential in our strategic planning process exemplifies the values of Kent County Public Schools. We are fortunate to call her a valued team member, and the unique difference she makes is recognized and commended. In addition, this employee has been with us now for just about over 3 years, holding various roles, but has proven to be a dedicated voice and ally for our ML families. She spends time in each and every one of our schools every single week and works very closely with our instructional team under the direction of Gina Giacomowitz and Cassie Swayze. So without further ado, I don't think she knew she was getting this award tonight, so we were. I would like you all to join me in honoring our December Golden Anchor, Ivette Martinez.
Did you guys want to come up, guys? How much you, Gina? Second photo, you're coming up.
All right, everybody look at me. 1, 2, 3.
One more photo, let's go, Kat. Let's go, Gina. Hey, guys. We're just getting one more, I'm sorry. One more.
Yep. There you go. All right, everybody look at me. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move into
Board recognition.
board member recognition. Dr. McComas.
Yes, so as everyone knows, we have 2 board members who are moving on to new chapters, and so we want to acknowledge the difference that they make. Let's go ahead and start with Ms. Sullivan. If you come down, we have a gift we want to present to you in gratitude of your service.
I was wondering what was underneath there.
I'm listening.
And of course, sorry. And then of course you would board, gavel.
Francois, can you turn around so we can see it too?
Well, Can-
We can set that back down and then when you're ready to take it. Oh, we should show.
Yeah, we want to see it.
They're all back. You're welcome.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's great.
And then, of course, next, last but not least, is Mr. Getz for his long service as a member of the board and as board chair. And so, here is your custom made.
Sorry, guys.
What is it? Oh, nice.
Perfect.
That quote serves you well, sir.
Thank you.
We have your gavel.
Oh, very cool. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to wait until later. Please, if that's okay.
Absolutely, whatever you prefer.
We definitely need to get a picture there at some point.
I love that, yeah.
Definitely.
You both of you,
All over.
Yeah,
goodies.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
You are more than
Really
welcome.
appreciate it. It's actually a joyous moment. It's you can catch a breath there, so thank you. We're going to move into board discussion. So in normal fashion, we will start with Ms. Swanson, so please.
All right, hello everyone. I'm going to talk for a long time, so please bear with me. I'd like to start by making some school announcements and updates. This Wednesday, December 11th, there will be a half-day dismissal for all KCPS schools. On Thursday, December 12th, the pre-K through second grade Garnett Elementary School Winter Concert will be held at 6 o'clock at Kent County High School. On December 18th, the Kent County High School Seasonal Sensations Dinner and Concert will happen at 6 o'clock. You come and you listen to music and eat food prepared by the culinary students. It's very fun. Yeah, it's a great time. Winter break will be from Monday, December 23rd to Wednesday, January 1st. I'd like to talk a little bit about something that's going on at the high school. We are working to choose a new tagline that accurately represents the core values of Kent County High School. And we have 4 options to consider I'd just like to share. We have RISE for respect, integrity, success, and empowerment. CHART, to chart your course for success at KCHS, in which we communicate openly, honestly achieve, respect everyone, and trust the process. All these are like RISE, R-I-S-E. Sorry, I didn't explain that. Anchor, in which achievement is our aim. We nurture integrity, communicate openly, hold respect, we are open to growth, and we are rooted in trust. And then we have the CARE option, in which we effectively communicate, strive for achievement, show respect, and encourage excellence. So we are testing all these out right now at the high school, and we are going to vote for them in the week of December 15th and announce the new tagline on December 20th. So stay tuned to find out what our new tagline will be. I think it's really cool. I'd also like to share an update on the status of the Student Advisory Council that I've been working on starting at the high school. With the help of Dr. McComas, I have selected the students that I'd like to be part of the council, and we are having our first meeting this Friday. So I'm hopeful. Thank you. I'm very excited. It's been a long process, but we finally have a meeting date, and we have our people. I'm hopeful that this council will shed a new light on and empower the student voice. So I'll tell you how that meeting goes next meeting. Continuing, even though October already seemed like forever ago, I'd like to share that the student member of the board report video for the October 14th Board of Education meeting was posted a few weeks ago and is available to watch on the KCPS YouTube page. It's a short, slightly goofy video that I made of that board meeting and will be making for all future Board of Ed meetings, which I highlight a few interesting or important things discussed at the meeting that I think you should know about. I'm still working on the one for the November meeting. I'm working on like an extra surprise segment that still needs a little workshopping, but you'll just have to watch the video when it comes out to find out what I'm talking about. So look out for that. If you haven't watched the October SMOB report video, please consider watching it. I worked very hard on it. And look out for future student member of the board report videos. I'd like to reiterate my excitement about the new board members, Laura McKenzie and John Queen, who were sworn in earlier this evening and will begin their time as board members at the January meeting. I've known John since I was little, and I know Laura through band, and I'm thrilled to be working with both of you at the next meeting. And I'd like to close my statement by expressing my sincere gratitude and admiration for Francois Sullivan and Joe Getz. Both of you have been so welcoming and helpful ever since I've joined the board. And I might get emotional, please bear with me. Joe has always been nothing but kind and thoughtful towards me. When I have something to say, he listens. He doesn't brush it off or overpower my words with his. I remember really enjoying the conversation we had that I think you brought up at the MAVE conference because it felt like a conversation. I wasn't getting talked at, I was being talked to, which is something that as a student and as a kid, I sometimes don't get to experience. So I was really grateful that you let me say what I had to say as well. I also love hearing him speak about Board of Ed things. Whenever he talks about his ideas and thoughts about the school system, I can tell how passionate he is about it. I remember at the board retreat in September, October, it was a long time ago. He was going on about something, and he had to cut himself off and said something along the lines of, "Sorry, I just love this stuff." So I'm going to miss that love and passion that you have for this role on the board. And since I've joined the board, Francoise has been extremely supportive of my ideas and endeavors and has helped me understand what's going on when I don't know. She is an amazing brainstorming buddy. I love chatting with her about new ideas. She's great at challenging me to think more deeply about concepts that I may not have thought to consider further. She asks amazing questions at meetings that I always wish I'd thought to ask, and I look up to her a great deal. She has a brilliant mind, and we are so fortunate to have had her on our Board of Ed. I will miss both of you very much, and I'd like to thank both of you for everything you have done for me and for this board. That's it. You're welcome.
Ms. Dorsey?
Yes. I want to start off by welcoming the new board members, Ms. McKenzie and Mr. Queen. I was remembering when they were being sworn in how excited I was about becoming a school board member and being elected. So I know it's an exciting time for them. And now I would just like to say that Joe and Francois, you will be greatly missed. I will miss you both. I am sad that you have to leave. And I just want to thank you for always being a help to me, making me feel comfortable, and making me feel welcome when I came on board. Also always having an encouraging word and supporting me. That will be missed as well. And I thank you for the great work that you both have done. And the heart that you've had to continue to do that work, for years. You will be missed not only by me and the board, but you will be missed also by, others that you've helped the students. A lot of people don't know how much you've done. A lot of things that people do when it comes to the school is not really seen. It's hard work. And a lot of people do things, they don't do it for it to be broadcast when they're going to Annapolis and doing different things and trying to get different bills passed because they know that it would be for the best interest of the students. So I just thank you for that, and I only wish that I could fulfill or walk in your shoes, the rest of the time that I am here. But I just want you to know that you will be missed greatly.
Thank you. Ms. McGee?
It's impossible to conceptualize and capture in a couple of minutes of what I'd like to say to both of you. Joe and I have worked together for 8 years. That is a very long time when you think about personally what happened to both of us over those 8 years, good things and bad things. Joe, baptism under fire, when I think of your first year was the bus debacle, and we consolidated schools, and I can just remember literally standing room only in this meeting when we had a special Board of Education meeting for 4 hours. I was the president of the board then, and Joe was such a rock-solid support to me then. I don't know if you remember, I just was remembering this the other day. One of our first fun things was, do you remember the bidding war we got in over the piece of art?
You won.
I know. I know. I'm just saying.
I've never forgotten that.
Yeah, okay, well, I should have brought it and given it to you tonight, but anyhow. So I want to thank you for the support you gave me as a board president, and I want to thank you for the 6, because you succeeded me as the president for the last 6 years, and things that we could never, ever have anticipated. You were the steady hand at the tiller of getting us through COVID. Kent County was basically ahead of all school districts in terms of and we made tough decisions. Families didn't like it when we went back in-person learning, but it was the best thing for our kids. I mean, I remember the plastic partitions between us for so long, and we started out our meetings, the very first meeting was Zoom. I remember that, and then we were wearing masks, and you led us to a very successful search for a new superintendent. So like I said, it's impossible, I mean, I'll probably be thinking the whole way home of things that I wish I had said to you, that I had said publicly. I look at your family, and I feel like over those last 8 years, I've watched those little rascals grow up. You know, I mean, I've watched Lizzie play field hockey for me. I've watched Lizzie go to high school, graduate high school, go to college, get married, and little Will, who's got the get swagger. You know, he's now a sophomore in college. So I can't say all the things I want because I can't even think of them. Francois, we've only worked with each other together for 4 years, and I feel like we've become lifelong friends in those 4 years because we really didn't know each other before we got on the board. Two things I will say that you have helped me immensely as a board member is, you know, education and the work of a board is so much different now than it was when I started 10 years ago. I mean, now the social emotional well-being of students is as important as whatever we're doing instructionally. At least you've helped me see that. And you've also helped me be much more open-minded when Alden was talking about the questions you ask and things that I was not as deliberative 10 years ago, and you've just helped me be a better person and a better board member, and you both are going to be missed. I mean, it will be I mean, nobody's irreplaceable, but you two are the closest things I can think of on a school board to be irreplaceable. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes?
So I'd like to give big thanks to Francois Sullivan and Joe Getz. And Ms. Francois, I just want to say that we've had our ups and downs, but I looked at your card you gave me, and words speak volumes, and thank you very, very much, because all that's behind us. Let's just move forward. I really appreciate that card. It means a lot to me. Thank you. And Mr. Getz, the first time I met you, I remember before I came on this board, we met at, I think, Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Because I was a little concerned about some things I wanted to do, and the first thing you said was, talk to Dr. Couch. Got to talk to Dr. Couch, and I remember those words. And Dr. McComas, I heed to that. And when I have big situations come up, I want to ask you. I'm not going to go do things unilaterally because that's not the way to go. But Mr. Getz, you've been just a community leader, and all your years at MAVE, it's amazing what you have done. I just can't even put it in words. Everyone's speaking all these good things you've done, but I've seen you speak at MAVE. I've seen all the people, how they appreciate what you do. You're like a rock star over there. That's all I can say. And you're a rock star here.
Thank you.
That's just all I want to say. So I have a few things I'd like to say. It might take me, it's not as long as what you were saying, but the last few months I've attended all 5 community conversations held by Dr. McComas. Fostering schools that support student success, looking ahead to our annual budget, improve our facilities and equipment, supporting academics and workforce training, and building community engagement. Some of these sessions were well attended and with public engagement very informative. I appreciate what you have done. That was just a wonderful, wonderful thing. I attended the MLTRC, the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission at Mary's Dream Alliance on American Legion Road in Chestertown, Maryland. Our school board was personally invited by the MLTRC and Office of the Maryland Attorney General, OAG. That evening, there was a JV and varsity basketball game at Chesapeake College via Snow Hill. We do not win all the time, but our teams are working hard. Please attend the Thursday games via Queen Anne's County at KCHS, 4 and 5:30, for the teddy bear toss. Our girls basketball play at home tomorrow. Also, the wrestling team has a holiday wrestling tournament at home, 12/13, 12/14. Try to show up to all those if you can. And please do not forget the Brigade of Blue Christmas events and the 37th Annual Planetarium Christmas Show with 5 dates until December 20th at the high school. By the way, the Garnett Bucket Brigade and KCHS band members perform with excellence at the Dickens Christmas Show in Chestertown. I want to extend to our county commissioners a big thanks for promoting safer schools as they always have. We have been given a directive to move a step forward and upgrade safety at all 5 schools, and will inform the commissioners soon regarding our findings. There are 2 schools, Galena and Kent County High School, that our group will observe next. Fire escapes, security cameras, stronger locks and access points, and general safety for all of our children. KCHS will soon have bold lettering that will send our pride to anyone, visitors and sports teams alike, to know that we mean business. In closing, in my opinion, the citizens of Kent County have called for major change at KCPS. We have a new superintendent and 2 new board members. This I consider a mandate, and change will be coming. A few of directives that I would like to pursue, and I'm almost done. Better security for everyone at Kent County Public Schools. The possibility of uniforms in our elementary schools. Our new middle school. Easy access for the board to visit any school and any classroom if warranted. Accountability with our teaching staff. Development as in affordable homes on the 301 corridor. As of now, Middletown owns more land for a building than the city of Wilmington. With a new Target and Costco, there'll be more jobs that will help Kent County, as we need housing to grow in Kent County. When housing grows and jobs grow, we will have more families hopefully moving here. Above all, the children we serve. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Would you like to go?
Sure. I want to thank everyone for your very kind words. I was trying to think of what I would say tonight, and I have so many things to say. I wrote you each cards, and I hope you have the opportunity to read those, and there's so much more that I will express to you. But I wanted to remind you of some of the work that we've done together and some of our accomplishments as a board, of work that I'm particularly proud of. And at the top of that list is interviewing and hiring our new superintendent, Dr. McComas. I think that you are an excellent addition to Kent County, and I appreciate that you're here. During our time, we also added 2 new courses to our CTE offerings: Advanced Computing Concepts and Information Technologies, and Pre-Engineering Computer Integrated Manufacturing. So we've grown our CTE program. Implementation and training for teachers for Orton Gillingham, which I think we are already seeing the effects of that additional training. Implementation of science of reading. As was mentioned, navigating COVID and the district reopening. We were ahead in a lot of ways in the state of Maryland for that. Approval of new Kent County High School courses, including American Sign Language and African American History. During the 4 years that I've been on the board, we also saw the return of the late bus. And I want to give a special thanks to Nivek Johnson for his work on that. And the formation of the KCPS Education Foundation. And I want to give a special thanks to Wendy Costa for always being an advocate for that. We established regular board and superintendent retreats during this 4 years. We have navigated a number of changes on state standardized testing. And I also want to mention, two community initiatives, which were the naming of the Garnett Media Center in honor of Emma L. Grayson Miller, which was spearheaded by Karen Somerville, so thanks to Karen for that, and the naming of the Kent County High School Black Box Theater in honor of Tom McHugh. I think that those were not only good community decisions, but I think they're a great recognition for those individuals. I want to also congratulate our 6 new national board certified teachers. That is a really wonderful accomplishment, and I know that journey wasn't easy, and I know that you all worked together, and there was a lot of support for you, and I think that you should all feel extremely proud of this accomplishment. My philosophy as a Board of Education member has always been that it's not about me or what I want. It is about making decisions that are in the best interest of our students and schools. And tonight, I'm going to use my platform to speak as a parent. To the current and incoming board members, I want you to remember that my children are counting on you.
Yes.
They're counting on you to make sure they receive a good education, that they are provided opportunities that are educational, cultural, and enriching. They're counting on you to continue to make our classrooms and hallways safe and nurturing environments. They are counting on you to continue to protect their rights, including the right to privacy and access to reading materials, even when the politically motivated few, with their unfounded fears and accusations, may object loudly. My children are counting on you to be strong and to do what is right for all students. Your job is not easy. Your decisions are not always popular. You will make mistakes. Apologize and move forward. Keep doing your best. My children are counting on you, and so am I. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sullivan. So first off, I just want to thank everyone for the kind words. You know, this journey, these 8 years, has not been about the role that I have served, but collectively what we've done together. So I have prepared a statement that I'd like to read. Please allow me to do that, otherwise I would lose it. I don't want to do that. So as I sit here before you tonight, I'm filled with a profound sense of gratitude and reflection. After 8 years of service as a member of the Board of Education, the time has come for me to embrace a new chapter in my life. While I'm excited about what lies ahead, I cannot help but feel a bittersweet sense of nostalgia for the journey we have shared. First and foremost, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. It has been an honor to work alongside such passionate educators, committed parents, and engaged community members. Your unwavering support and dedication to our children's education have inspired me every day, and I'm so proud of what we have accomplished together. Throughout my tenure, as Ms. McGee mentioned, we have faced many challenges and we've celebrated many victories, but it has always been our shared commitment to the students that has driven our decisions. Together, we have worked to create a learning environment that fosters growth, creativity, and success for all our children. It has been a privilege to contribute to initiatives that enhance educational opportunities, support our teachers, and engage families in meaningful ways. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Couch, and I'm pretty confident she's probably watching from New Mexico at this moment, for her unwavering partnership and dedication she had to this community and the students of Kent County Public Schools. Through the consolidation of schools, various contracts, whether bus or anything else, and of course COVID, she stayed true to our mission, which is to be an anchor organization that creates an environment of academic excellence through a collaborative, equitable, and rigorous learning community. She never lost sight of this and worked with the school board to always do what was in the best interest of our students. It was an honor for me to serve with her. Then January came and she announced that she was retiring, and this board took on the task of searching for a new superintendent. Although it was somewhat daunting, and after a thorough and somewhat long process, we were able to find Dr. McComas. Dr. McComas, I'm so happy to have you here in the KCPS community, and in our short time together, I've been so impressed with your character, your integrity, your determination, your dedication to this community and our students. You are truly an amazing educator, and I know that you will continue the hard work that is needed to be the best that we can be. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge my fellow board members that I have served with over the 8 years. I've had the pleasure to serve with Brian Williams, Jeff Reed, Wendy Costa, Nivek Johnson, Trish McGee, Francois Sullivan, Aretha Dorsey, and Frank Rhodes. I have learned so much from each of you, and I will carry these lessons with me as I move forward. The beauty of this institution is that we can come from all different walks of life and serve for our community members. And although we don't always see eye to eye, and quite frankly, some of you might think I'm crazy, and it might go the other way as well, the beauty of what we have here is that we do it together. And I'm just impressed with the process. I know I've talked about it over and over again, but it's been a real joy with our board members to be able to work with the administration and all the fine work that each of you and everyone has done for our students and for our families. I want to take a moment to thank our student members of the board. Ms. Swanson, you are incredible. And I am so fortunate, as I am completely engaged with the daily updates that your father and mother post. I'm very excited to see that hopefully in that thread, and I will be watching, that we'll see some great things with what you have. The sky's the limit, and I'm excited to have met you and be a part of what we do here.
Thank you.
You've added so much, and I'm just incredibly impressed.
Thank you.
Mr. Constance, I want to thank you for your leadership. You have been accessible 24/7. Typically with board members or with superintendents or with that man sitting right there, when I am on the phone at all nights of the evening or early morning and my wife is asking me who I'm on the phone with, it's typically someone in this room.
Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm. But I just want to let you know, Adam, thank you. Thank you for your partnership and what you have brought to this system. I truly view you as a friend, and I can't thank you enough. I'll be okay. I want to thank my family. This has been hard work. Will was 9 years old when I joined the board. Lizzie was 16. Liza taught for 13 years in this school system, and I know that the constant barrage of questions and asks and why this and why that, you guys have been through all of it. You've been amazing, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate your dedication to the work and understanding. I will tell you that some of the greatest moments that I had as a father and a board member was to be able to be on stage when both of you walked across and graduated. So thank you all for that. Josh, you are an amazing addition to the family, and you have seen this. I know you thought that I've been crazy, but certainly I think you're also probably happy. So thank you to each of you for your love, your caring, your thoughts. I can't thank you all enough for being on this journey with me. As I step back from this role, I encourage the KCPS community to continue your advocacy for our students and this educational system. Your voices matter, and your involvement is crucial. If you are in the community and have questions, I encourage you to make the time to speak to our superintendent or our board members, our staff, and our teachers. They are all accomplishing great things, and they deserve your support. I just want to pause for a second. As I look across the room, each and every one of you have played a role in my family's journey through KCPS, and we've all been very successful. They have been super successful, and you are all amazing and all part of the family, and I just want to personally thank all of you for all that you have done, from elementary school up to high school, up to assistant principal, to new space, and just everyone. You've been amazing, and I can't thank you enough for your partnership and the jokes and the laughter. It's been great. In closing, thank you once again for allowing me to serve as a member of the Board of Education. The experiences I've gained, the relationships I've built, and the impact we've made together will forever hold a special place in my heart. I look forward to seeing the continued growth and success of our schools and community. That is not an ask, that's a challenge to our 3 board members who will be here and our 2 new board members coming on board. Thank you, and I hope that you all continue to work together for a brighter future for our children. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Okay. We are going to move into education services, and the item that I see there is the MSTE School Star Ratings.
Yes.
Ms. Jacomowitz.
Good evening, President Getz, Dr. McComas, members of the board. Recently, we received the star ratings for last school year, and they are available on the Maryland School Report Card website. If you had an opportunity to listen to our state superintendent, Dr. Wright, I'm sure you're aware that as a state, we're really keeping a close eye. In fact, there has been appointed by Dr. Wright a task force to really take a look at the accountability system to see if it is doing what the state needs. Anytime you do that, there is a commitment to transparency, and that's what this is all about. So the report card itself does not only measure achievement, but it has a variety of measures. The metrics include both achievement as well as growth, school quality and success, which is measured through surveys. Students take surveys, staff take surveys. And the graduation rate applies to our high school rating. All schools also receive a measure on absenteeism. Again, when you think about why a report card, there is a commitment at the state as well as at the local level for that ongoing accountability and transparency. As we just heard Mr. Getz put out there, our goal is to continue to seek excellence as a school system. This first slide shows the star ratings across all schools, and one of the pieces that you want to notice on this slide are the schools that are achieving at levels 3, 4, and 5. So as a school district, at this point, we do not have any schools reaching the 5-star school level. In fact, across the state, it is a very small percentage, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 1% of the schools across the state of Maryland.
Right,
Did you want to comment, Dr. McComas?
That's correct. That is correct. And I just didn't mean to derail you,
please.
but I just want to highlight that we have on the screen here our 3-year trend data for the star rating. And as Ms. Giacomowitz pointed out, the star rating is really, think about that as a dashboard of multiple measures that then come together in a composite score that yields the number of stars that your school receives for that 12-month cycle. And so as you look across the multiple years, you'll see the majority of our schools have fluctuated between 3 and 4 stars. We know our middle school has struggled. And I just want to talk about some of the things that we have done as a system that is affecting all of our schools, and then the middle school in particular. So we know as a school system, we took the bold move to implement Orton Gillingham as our Tier 1 or our universal approach to teaching foundational literacy. Most school systems use that as a Tier 2 or Tier 3 intervention for students who struggle to learn to read. We are using it as the universal approach to teaching, and our 3rd grade achievement data from last spring, which was just the first year of implementation, shows very strong growth in both literacy and mathematics, to the point that if we look at 3-year trend data in literacy for 3rd grade, it was an 18.7% jump over 24 months. So I just offer that as we know as students develop stronger literacy skill year upon year, that we will see that affect all the schools over time. And in terms of the middle school, we know that as a system, we made a leadership change. And last year was the first year of the current administration, so we are about 18 months into a new administration. And there's been significant changes. You've heard me speak before. Significant redesign of the school master schedule to support more focused class size and really prioritize our student needs. And their work around, forgive me, our do we call it academy time there? I forget what we call it there.
So you have, at the high school, it's Trojan time, and then we have academy time at the other levels.
Okay. Right. So, and the tiers of intervention there, I know, Ms. McGee, you asked last month about intervention at the middle school, and I've talked to the team. We want to bring forward a presentation around the interventions to get deeper into what exactly are the transformations that we're doing at the middle school. So I just offer that as a holistic view around when we're looking at this trend data and what are those transformative actions that we have taken as a community to affect all of these. These scores, while they've just been released in December by the state board, they are that composite of all of last year's multiple measures. So I know that sometimes I think when data is released in the middle of the year, people think it may apply to this year. So it's really the sort of consolidated measures, if you will, of last year's multiple measures.
Dr. McComas, one of the things I just wanted to mention, and I think it's something positive that the state has done, is they've released a simulator. So our school principals are able to go in, enter the information for the various categories that have resulted in the star rating that they were given, and it allows them to see specifically what adjustments may need to be made in which areas in order to move to that 4-star, 5-star level. It's exactly the type of work that they were doing before, but now they're able to see with pinpoint with much more accuracy specific areas that need to improve. I did want to mention on this slide, and it's a standout with Garnett Elementary School's work. And Garnett Elementary School is our one school that moved from level 3-star to 4-star this past year. And this is no surprise to you as a board, because you have heard Mrs. Rose as well as the staff talk about some pretty significant adjustments that they've made with how they're doing business day to day in their school, including more specific interventions and how they're using data to really adjust things. Heather Davis, who is one of their lead instructional teachers in the building, has specifically emphasized the need to focus on the standards. And so that is one of the standouts, and Dr. McComas is working closely with us so that we can think together, as we have before, how can we replicate some of those practices in our other schools as well. I do have to also mention that the principals themselves are digging into this quickly, information or adjustments that can help us understand the story behind any shifts in the stars. As you know, you heard Dr. McComas mention the Orton Gillingham piece in year 2. So the thing that we believe is that over the course of multiple years, as those students move through, you're going to see the mastery of those foundational skills, which is going to result in greater success in grades 3, 4, and 5. It's not apparent in the 3rd grade scores, in the 4th and 5th grade scores yet, but as those students move through, we'll continue to see those improvements in instruction and achievement.
And then lastly, what we have here is some highlights for each of the schools that reflect the work that they were doing at their individual schools. So you can see for Galena, we have an improvement in attendance. We have for Rock Hall an improvement in science proficiency and overall attendance. And for Garnett, as mentioned, we highlighted some of these when we were looking at our MAP data, which is sort of our leading data. Resulting in notable increases in both achievement and growth for Garnett. The middle school did improve its attendance, and we are seeing some preliminary progress in math. And then for our high school, of course, improved 9th grade on track for graduation rate, as well as overall graduation for last year being so high in the state overall. And then great improvement in ELA, again with an approximate 15% increase. So again, just to give you perspective around the overall accountability system.
Great. Are there any questions? Okay. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Ms. Giacomo.
thank you both from the whole instructional team, Francois and Joe. We really appreciate your service, and thank you both for being consistent champions for our children. We appreciate it.
True.
Okay, we are going to move into administrative services. Ms. Stewart.
Good evening, board members, President Getz, Dr. McComas. We're going to start off tonight with our financial report, and this is as of starting July 1 to current, November 30th, 2024. For our cash receipts summary for Fund 1, we have received about $19.7 million. And then with our Fund 3, none at this time. And Fund 5, about $316,000, to give us a total cash receipts as of November 30th, $20,051,554. We move on to our current expense fund. We have expended about 63% of our funding there. Looking at our school construction, this is what we expended so far, is finishing up our tennis courts. And then our food service is about 53% expended. And lastly, our restricted funds overview, essentially we've expended collectively with encumbrances and year-to-date expenditures about $4.9 million. And then on the last overview page, this is just an overview of receipts and expenditures. This is just for information only. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions for Ms. Stewart? Ms. Stewart, I would like to just say thank you in your preparation with these reports. I know that it may seem each month that the lack of questions means that, you know, it's what it is, but it's thorough, and thank you. It means a lot, and the prep before the board makes it very easy to roll through this, so don't take it personally. Okay? Thank you so much. And as Ms. Stewart mentioned, this was for information only, so with that, we're going to move on to 9B, which is the unrestricted funds budget amendment number 2, fiscal year 2025.
All right, so administration is requesting board approval for the fiscal year 2025 unrestricted budget, Amendment 2. So as you just heard with our fiscal year 2024 audit, there's a page within the audit, and that's page 54, that explains the budget, what started as the original budget to what the actual budget would be at the end of the year. Last year, in 2024, there was an imbalance, but it was towards the good. This year, in 2025, there is an imbalance, but it's not to the good. So we have to make those adjustments to make sure that we balance out accordingly for audit purposes. This amendment will correct that. The amendment will increase the fund balance to $716,566. This also includes the portion of the fund balance that actually is a carryover for concentration on poverty funding and TSI. Instructional supplies by $140,000. Other instructional costs, $92,500. This is related to the AAEEBB, Girls Mentoring, Arts and Enrichments, and other student initiatives, including Power School. Transportation for the late bus, I know that in past time that was approved, but there was no specific necessary budget line, but it was the understanding that we would use our funds for the late bus, but this puts it as a budget line. And then our fixed charges by $63,000 as it relates to ESNEC reserves to our healthcare. There were some increases there that are needed. We need to adjust our budget for. This will also then decrease the instructional salaries by $179,000, other instructional costs by $6,500. So administration is requesting board approval for this amendment. If there are any questions, we are able to answer.
Please.
I have a couple questions. So the increase, and I'm focused mostly on transportation, the $30,000 for the late bus, is that on top of the $70,000 that we had budgeted for
No.
the late bus?
No,
Okay.
that's not. So essentially for the late bus, it's about, I want to say $40,000 that we actually expend for the late bus. We do have remaining grant funds, and it's our ARP funding that we're able to use the late bus, because we're using the late bus to assist with like one-to-one tutoring, different things like that. So that is also in relation to this. So essentially, this is just to create a budget line to keep a better track of the late bus run.
And I know that we have, or at least one day a week, I think we have a late bus at the middle school.
Yes, that's covered through another grant.
That's through another grant?
Yes.
Okay. And then my next question is about the decrease. Can you, for the instructional salaries, the decrease of $179,000, is that because of positions that weren't filled, or was there some change in salaries to cover that?
So when this came about, I actually did a more thorough review. So there were extra savings that we found in instructional salaries that we were able to capitalize on to make these budget adjustments and these changes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Are there any additional questions? Okay, this is an action item. The administration is requesting board approval of the fiscal year 2025 unrestricted budget amendment number 2. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Rhodes. Any further comments or questions? Not hearing any, we will go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. We appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Building Use Procedure 800-61.
All right, so this here is just for information purposes only. With this procedure, essentially, I have to bring it back because I need to update for the dates with our building use procedure. And so if we scroll down to the building use policy, this was just the user calendar area was just the changes that were made to reflect current dates of when the schools will be closed and not available for use. So this is just for information only to bring that to your attention.
Were those the only changes? I saw the lines through them.
Yeah, that was the only,
Yeah, I believe that was it.
yeah, that was the only changes, nothing.
Okay.
We haven't looked at it.
That was information purposes only. Are there any other questions? You will have the opportunity to come back next month. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Frank Rhodes donation to the KCHS Athletics.
All right, so administration is requesting board approval for the donation to the KCHS Athletic Department from Mr. Frank Rhodes. Mr. Frank Rhodes is proposing to donate funds to purchase warm-ups for the KCHS varsity and JV basketball teams. And this will include warm tops and bottoms and also shooting shirts. The cost of the donation is $2,380. And he is also proposing to donate to purchase a monster squat rack for the KCHS weight room, and the cost of that equipment is $3,244.40. So administration is asking for board approval for the donation by Mr. Frank Rhodes to the KCHS Athletic Department.
Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, is it okay to ask Frank directly some
Sure,
questions?
Sure.
Okay. And it's only because you're a board member. I'm just wondering, for the sake of transparency, can you describe the process that you use for determining these specific donations?
We were at the Boosters meeting, and the Boosters are not a functional organization right now. I mean, they haven't gotten approved. We've been working for like 2 or 3 years to get a 501c3. So I was there, and one of the people, well, first of all, the gentleman from the, Chris Yanikis from the team, the wrestling team, has been trying to get a squat rack for months and months and months, and I just wanted to help out with that. I want to see our basketball team, I want to see them have really good equipment. The other schools have so much equipment, and I just want our teams to look good. I mean, we have a hard time winning a bunch of games, but I just want them to look good. I want them to feel good, and I think it's a good process. And we've also went to the Boosters and we said if any other people this winter wanted to apply for any kind of uniforms or anything, we're ready to help out, but these are the only 2 that we have right now.
Do you know if the teams went through our regular budgeting or purchasing process to try to acquire this equipment?
I don't think there was the money at the Boosters. I don't know, I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Did they go through the school purchasing process that you're aware of?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then, as far as the warm-ups, are they unisex? Are they available for use by both male and female athletes?
Yes, both male and female can use them.
And will the current students keep the warm-ups, or will they remain the property of Kent County High School?
Now, that I don't know. I don't know if they're going to keep them or not. I can't answer that question. I have to talk to the coaches.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any additional comments or questions?
I'll just say the donation is made to the school system, so the uniforms would be to the school so that they can be collected and then reissued for next year's team, so.
So can I follow up on both what Dr. McComas and
Sure.
Francois asked? So so Mr. Rhodes' donations are going directly to the school? Okay.
That's what the donation needs to do.
Okay, yeah. So who does the actual purchasing?
Well, so essentially, when it comes at this level, the option would be essentially that actually Mr. Rhodes can make it out to KCPS, and then my office will set up a separate budget line for it, and we will work with Ms. Warren at the high school to make those purchases and proceed to make sure, and also Mr. Taylor, to get the sizes and different things like that, so we can keep track of the balances.
Yeah, I
of
mean,
what it
that's the
is.
main thing. I'm just trying to make sure that there's a record.
Yeah.
You know, so for example, the squat rack, who actually orders that? I mean, who, and when would that show up? And I'm assuming, even though it's for the weight room, and I know Mr. Unitas, Chris has been the one, I think, that requested it, it would be for any student?
Yes, according to the donation of Mr. Rhodes, it would be for the high school weight room. So essentially, we will work with the high school. We will have the funding here, but we will work to the high school to get it paid for.
Okay.
And then essentially, they will make the order, and then we will keep track of the balance. Because, you know, if they look at they look at a monster squad and it comes in less, and then, you know, there's remaining funds available for that. Or if it comes in more, then we'll know how to go about that.
I'm just,
Just so we're clear, there's been no formal request that has come from the athletic department.
yeah, that's what I'm wrestling a little bit with the process. The first thing I want to say is I would never discourage anybody from making a contribution to our school system, nor would I tell them how they should earmark their donation. I just want it to be transparent, and, you know, I've been the high school field hockey coach for 35 years, and I was thinking to myself, if we needed something for our program that we didn't have, how would I, as a coach, go about it? And so as Mr. Rhodes said, I agree that the all-sports booster club is sort of in it's a mess right now. But I think every team has their own individual booster club, which I know the field hockey team does. So like every year, our seniors get a specially embroidered blanket and some other things, and it comes out of our booster stuff, our own money. So I can't think of the right word, but it feels like a community member is just sort of, I don't want to say circumnavigating it, because it makes it sound like there's been some sort of nefarious bad thing. But I feel like it should be a process. You know, you request it from the athletic department, okay, and the athletic department might very well say, we don't have the money for that. So then I kind of thought that's what the booster clubs were for. And if they say, we don't have the money for that, then I feel like you kind of reach out. But I just kind of, it's just me, but I have a problem with a community member going right to somebody and saying, we need this, will you buy it for us?
Yeah, if I may comment, I just agree in that all teams need to follow proper procedure.
Yeah.
Because what has happened is, I do think, and again, I'm appreciative of everyone's generosity, I think our school system, coaches and members of our school system have, I think, normalized this idea that we don't have any money, so we don't ask the system. We just ask whoever is willing to help us. And I think it's a new day, and we need to ask, you know, that's what I know, Mr. Rhodes and I had talked, and I never did receive a request for the squat machine, or, you know, so I never had the opportunity to say, you know, let me go find that money in our operating budget, or the opportunity to say, I'm sorry, I just don't have the money, how else might we find it? So it's important that our coaches follow procedure. If they need resources, they need to go through our athletic director, our high school principal, which comes, then the request comes to Mr. Hushin. Ms. Stewart and myself will review our budget to see what we have in there, to see what we can do. And I will just tie this to our bigger multi-year plan. We are in the process of identifying what is equipment that we need, what are uniform cycles of replacement, what are musical instruments that need to be replaced, and prioritizing those and creating a multi-year cycle of managing that equipment so that we know when the life cycle is coming to an end, that we can plan in advance in that budget cycle to replace, whether it's the volleyball stanchions or whatever the case may be, as an example. So I just would agree that we just need to remind everyone to follow the proper process. We appreciate all the donations that people make because it is a community that is generous and is very supportive of our children, which, you know, I'm appreciative. But I just want to make sure that those who are working for KCPS are following proper procedures because those procedures are in place to make sure that we're addressing the collective needs of our students. So I'll just add that I think procedure is important for all of us, which is why we're ultimately here this evening.
I think we also want to be careful that we are not putting a board member in a position where now we are opening it up to anyone on staff can go to Frank and say,
Right.
I need this thing, without going through our correct purchasing process. I think we need to, like you said, reiterate the need for following the process, because everybody needs stuff, and
Right.
we need to be able to prioritize that, but also to protect a generous board member who
Yes.
just wants to help.
Right.
So,
I really appreciate that, thank you. And what I want to say is that I want our boosters, I want that situation fixed. We've been working on it for almost 3 years now, and they're so close, but they're not there yet. They have, I could be mistaken, like $40,000 or $50,000 in their bank account, and they can't even use it because they're a defunct organization. And it's really sad. And I've talked to some coaches, they don't even want to go to the boosters meetings. They think it's just a waste of time, so we've got to straighten it out somehow, because the money is there, and our teams deserve, our students deserve the best equipment. Your team, everybody's teams do. So,
Right, and I do wish the boosters well in their pursuit to get all of that sorted out. You know, they are, and I know you know this, Mr. Rhodes, but for the good of the community who may be listening, the boosters is its own separate organization from the school system, although clearly we partner together. And I am aware that their leadership has been working to reestablish that 403C, 501C, forgive me, 501C to get that reestablished. So I do wish them well in that endeavor. I too am eager for them to get that situated so that it can eliminate frustration.
Can I just add one other point, Dr. McComas, because there was a question, you know, whether or not this would be donated to the school, and hearing the conversation, thinking that this was a conversation that may have stemmed from a Booster Club meeting. Have any promises been made to students that these warm-ups would be personalized where they are able to keep them? I'm just curious to know that, especially if I'm hearing that this is a donation to the school system, uniforms will then be kept.
I do know one thing, that Jerron Hoxter, who his company's making the uniforms, they have logos and everything on them. And he said they might be ready tomorrow or the next day, so.
Right, I think what'll be important is that it's just the school system logo, not individual student names, because the donation is to the school system. And again, then those uniforms can be reissued for future teams.
I don't know about the name. I don't think there are, but I don't know. All I know is they're coming soon.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Who decided who the vendor was to purchase the warm-ups?
This time, Senator, did you want to step up to the podium, or?
Just a couple things. I was not made aware that there was, until I looked at the board agenda, that there was going to be a donation for these items. There is a booster meeting tomorrow evening. Chris Umicus did make a request to the general booster fund for the squat machine. Okay, it's still on the agenda for tomorrow evening for them to have that discussion as to whether the general fund of the athletic boosters is going to approve that purchase. It was when it was requested by Chris Umicus, the only issue that was happening is when you have the weight room. The weight room, if you've been in there, is very tight, and it has, you know, all of the machines in there. So the bigger question was, would we be able to fit the squat machine in the weight room, or will we have to take another machine out in order for that to happen? So that has been the delay. It wasn't the funding piece of it. Since we are not at this point a 501c3, when it was on the agenda and was brought back up to the booster meeting, last month, it was a request that was made. They tabled that for the next meeting, which will be tomorrow evening, to have that conversation. So since last month's and tomorrow night's meeting, I was not made aware that there was going to be information by Mr. Frank Ruiz. And I'm not aware that the boosters, or the executive boosters are aware, except for informal conversations, that there was going to be an official agenda item on tonight's board meeting for a donation by Mr. Ruiz.
Well,
From either the warm-up suits or the squat rack.
So, hearing what Mr. Rhodes said, it sounds like the warm-ups have already been ordered. Is that correct?
It does sound that way. Mhm.
But a donation wasn't approved yet.
Right.
And
What, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I'm just saying, and again, I need to reinforce, I've said it once before, and I want to say it again, and I want to follow up on what Ms. Sullivan said. I support the donation. I support on anything we can do to support our kids, whether they're artists, thespians, athletes, musicians. I support all of that. It's just, again, I'm just an old-fashioned person, that to me, it's about the process, and I feel like we're asking for forgiveness instead of permission. If the uniforms, A, have been ordered, the warm-ups, and a vendor has been chosen, who did that?
I'm with everybody else. I didn't know anything about that. I'm just presenting it.
Dr. McCombs, do you know?
Well, I think it does open up some can of worms, because we have the band boosters that are always asking for funds, and there isn't somebody that will come up and say, we're going to go ahead and donate, because, yes, I'll take any money that's going to be donated to the high school for our students that will benefit our students, but I think it becomes a nightmare, and it opens up a can of worms in my position to clean up some of those things from my end if we're not following a procedure or a process, and then it becomes we're hearing, or we're just looking at a board agenda and all of a sudden seeing that there's a donation request when I haven't been made aware of that, nor the boosters, the universal boosters, nor the athletic director and myself. So, I mean, I think it's wonderful, and I'm not in any way saying that I think it's great, Mr. Rhodes. I, appreciate anything that you get. It just has to be a process in the right way, because we have 515 students in that building, and we have many, many clubs, athletic associations, PTSA, music boosters, and you just got to be real careful about someone coming back and basically saying that, it wasn't fair. Why did this person get in and, the other person didn't? So I'm trying to protect you at this point, because
I
not
appreciate
only
that.
I am too. I just don't want somebody realizing that here's a guy that could say yes. Is everything okay, Joe? I saw Liza get up
May I
and
say
answer the
one
phone.
thing?
Yeah.
Thank you for that, I appreciate your, may I say one thing? I've been working, I remember a year and a half ago, I was at one of these meetings, and the Boosters was defunct. And I've been pushing and pushing, I've called the attorneys, I've been pushing just to get it done. And it's taken so long to get where we are. Even you came to a meeting, you said you can't even be there. And all I'm trying to do is I just want to, I figure I'm tired of waiting. It's been a year and a half. Our students shouldn't have to wait. Our booster committee has got to get formed, get the 501c3 done. They can start collecting money, all the signs out there on the football field, they can ask companies for more money, but right now, no one can donate because it's an illegal organization. And all I'm trying to do is get it to work, and I just wish we could come together and just make it come together. That's why I want to do the uniforms. I don't want to wait anymore. I understand what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. But can we fix it? Can we fix the boosters? Who can fix it? Hopefully the board will.
Well, again,
Well,
that's...
the boosters is not a Board of Education thing.
Yeah, I will say that when it comes to boosters and PTA as part of our process, they are separate.
I know.
They're independent, so anything that comes directly from them, they really should be doing all the purchasing and whatnot. I think on our end, when administration brings a donation, the donation does get made to KCPS, and we track it at central office to make sure that the funds are going where it's supposed to go. There is a policy for donations being made at the school level, any donations or fundraising, and we do communicate that because at the school level, if someone makes out a check, because we don't see that, but if the school, we do communicate, they make out a check, the policy is if it's $5,000 or more, that needs to be approved by the superintendent or board, and they are to reach out to me so I can get it on the board agenda and make sure it kind of.
So if it's $5,000 or less, what's the process there?
5,000 or more at the school level. But when it comes to my level, like it's just, in this case, when it comes to directly to me, if somebody, like we have another donation coming up with Rotary Club, they make it out to the school. When I bring it and it comes to us, we have a budget line that we create for the donation, and I bring to the board for approval so the board is aware. Because in instances like that, the board wants to even thank the organization or individual for making those donations, and it makes them aware because that's essentially additional revenue to assist with items. But we make sure we try to communicate that if you wanted to make the donation, let it be approved first, and then we work on how the process goes with expending those funds.
So they come to you first and not the boosters? Is that what that? I'm a little confused here.
Right, so to make a donation, there's different, even if the donation goes to the boosters then comes to us to make the donation. So that's what, if you look at our policy, and I have it right here,
But there is no boosters right now, that's the problem.
well, right, so, but I mean, donations don't have to go through the boosters. It says all public gifts, funds, and donations must be approved by the board. This is what Ms. Stewart was just sharing. You know, you can't find something when you're looking for it.
Well, while you're looking for that, can I just kind of make a strong recommendation that moving forward, as you said, this is a new day, and there's a whole lot of new stuff going on, that we got to nail down what the process is. And it is kind of, in a school system as small as ours, especially a high school as small as ours, and the principal and the athletic director don't know anything about this, and somebody shepherded it along, I'm not sure who it was.
That can't
Can
be
we
the
agree
process.
that's not the right way to do stuff?
Right.
Okay.
Right, and I found.
Without me, I'm not yelling, I'm not getting mad at Frank or anything like that. I'm just thinking for transparency, record keeping, accountability, we can be able to, like you, Dr. McComas, I'm all about data and documenting. So we've got to have it written down somewhere.
This is all good, I'm glad we're getting this out there.
Yeah, so just to quote our policy, and for anybody in the audience or the, community that's listening, it's policy KCD. So, the second paragraph says, Board of Ed also recognizes student organizations, staff, parent organizations, booster organizations, community groups, and individual donors sometimes provide financial support for school activities in Kent County. And I think, just to touch it, while the boosters is a separate organization, and they are pursuing getting their documents in order to be able to properly receive, account for, and then distribute donations that are made to the boosters, we do have individual donors and community groups. We know a few months back we had a donation from the Kent Cultural Alliance, right? And so the boosters in that, in this is just one more community organization, essentially, right? So they too have to follow this process when they're donating to the school system. So again, it's an opportunity for us to reiterate to any person who works for KCPS, whether in a coaching role or a teaching role, if we're doing fundraising of any sort, that we need to follow proper procedure to protect everyone who's involved, because we want to make sure those who are being generous enough to make donations are doing it properly, so that everything is public and transparent.
So also, that policy, I don't know if because there's the whole $5,000 threshold. Somebody, depending on which level there are, I'm looking back, because I went back and read the policy today, there's also supposed to be, isn't there a form you got to fill out?
Yes, and that policy, and we may that's something that I can definitely work with Dr. McComas, because that policy is school-specific. So at the school level, we do have school funds online where the principal works with their secretary when they get donations, and they may get some like $100 here, $50, like randomly individuals or organizations may make donations directly to that school. For that purpose, we definitely reiterate that there needs to be a separate budget line, so that 5,000 or more is a tick mark for the school. So if they're doing like a fundraising, I've let the principals know, hey, you may not know what you're gonna get, but when it all washes and you get 5,000 or more, you need to, before you spend anything, reach out to me. That form needs to be completed, because the superintendent needs to, if it's 5,000, superintendent needs to approve it. If it's more than 5,000, we need board approval as well as the superintendent to approve.
And this isn't one of these policies that we've ignored for 30 years. We just revised it 18 months ago,
Right.
in March of 2023.
Yes.
So anyhow.
But we may have to just add language. I know in my position, anything that's made at Kent County Public Schools, I just bring to the board, whether it's $10 or $15,000, because that's just the transparency, so that you all know, the donations that we are getting at central office level.
Yeah, I got it. So anyhow, again, this was, if I came across being critical or it trying to be a gotcha moment, it wasn't that at all. I just want to make sure that we're doing things the right way. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know what the right word is, but it was notable that our principal and our athletic director didn't know anything about this.
And I don't know if this is possible, but my inclination kind of right now is to defer the vote, seeing as the principal and the athletic director didn't know about the donation, and that there's an item on the boosters agenda tomorrow night. So there are circumstances that make it difficult for me, even though I want the kids to have these things, to vote to approve or disapprove of this donation. It is not the intent of the donation that I have an issue with. It is the process and making sure that everyone who should have been involved is now involved.
Well, I'd like to say one thing, that again, the boosters is defunct. It's been like that for 2 or 3 years now, when they lost their 501c3. All I want to do is, these uniforms are supposed to be here for the students. They have a game on Thursday. I understand what you're saying. I don't know, whatever you guys want to do. And I apologize for this taking so much time, but the boosters needs to be solved, and we're not going to have this problem again if it's fixed. And it's taking forever to get it fixed. And
Okay, so this is listed as an action item, but Ms. Sullivan has mentioned about possibly deferring. I would take your recommendation on steps. I can call for a motion and see where it goes.
What about a compromise, a hybrid motion? Approve the warm-ups, but wait for the squat rack, because although Mr. Rhodes says the Booster Club is defunct, I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow night. What if they decide they somehow have $3,000 and are going to buy this? If the squat rack isn't on school property yet, is it?
no,
Okay.
and it's coming, it's being delivered. I was going to deliver it here, but it's coming to my shop now.
Okay.
If no one wants it, I'll just give it away.
No, don't do that.
It should be here it might be here tomorrow, I don't know.
Okay, so
excuse me, I understand this is a process, and you've told me that, Mr. Getz, everything's a process, but the boosters is more than a process. It needs to be fixed. And you know that, Ms. Hemstetter, you know it needs to be fixed. We need to get it done. I'd like to get these two things passed, and I understand your concern, but
I have a question. Now, I understand that there's a problem with the Booster Club, but is there any other way that this could have been done? Is there a process outside of them, so that all that's involved that should have known?
So essentially, anything that goes on that's needed at the school level, they should be reaching out to their principal And at that point, the principal can work with the athletic director. If it's at an elementary school, the principal would then have to reach out to Mr. Hushin or even myself, or to be honest, they can reach out to Dr. McCombs. If there is a need for a student, they need to reach out to the principal or, if anybody, Dr. McCombs, so that it's on our radar. Because if they reach out to me, I automatically go to Dr. McCombs, or Dan will come to me. And so that's kind of our internal process. But at our level, if we don't, if they don't go to their principals that can bring it to us, we're not going to, unfortunately,
I
we're
just
not going
wanted
to
to know
know.
if there was another way.
As of last Wednesday, there was a series of budget requests that were put forth on behalf of the athletic department from our athletic director and our school principal, and neither of these two items were on that list.
And typically, the process is, the general fund of the athletic boosters is the general fund, and then each of the teams have sub-accounts. So typically, what the coaches do is, if their sub-accounts are not going to be used for items, and they want to purchase something that is above what their sub-account is, they think that, maybe other teams would use, then the first thing they do, this is very simple, is they ask the boosters, okay, before going to Kent County Public Schools, because it's the boosters. Then as an agenda item, then the boosters would, put it on the agenda, have conversations, vote as to whether they have the money and they want to fund it. If they're not able to fund it, for the discussion and the conversations, then at that point, then I can take it to Kent County Public Schools to see if they can do it. And that's as simple as the process is. We've shared that with the booster. Every meeting that we have, that's how we share it. If you want something great for the boosters can't fund it, then what I will do, and then that comes out of the principal and the athletic director to approve it and to take it to Elisa. And then they see through Kent County Public School budget if they are able to do it. They'll come back and say, no, under discussion, this is not approved. And then at that point, we just figure out where we're going from there. It's as simple as can be. This was not brought to my attention. It is an item that was brought to the boosters. The boosters has not made a decision as of yet because there were some other funding that they do have, I think, like $20,000 in their general account, but there's some bills that they need to pay for, the sound, the speaker system that went through for the stadium, which because multiple teams use the stadium, that was a general budget item for the boosters, and Kent County Public Schools shared that cost. So it was $20,000. Kent County Public Schools shared the $10,000. The boosters share the other $10,000. So of the general funds that they have right now, they are taking that $10,000 out and putting that towards it. And because we're working on the 501c3, Chip McLeod, who is working on that process, okay, as soon as he submits that paperwork, then we would be able to accept donations at that point. So we're talking 2 weeks.
May I ask you a question? Would you be able to talk to the coaches? Because I've talked to a bunch of them, and they didn't even want to go to the boosters meetings. In fact, they didn't even want any part of it. And I know, Dr. McCombs, maybe you can talk to them, but they need to start coming and speaking up, but they don't want to go because there is no booster. I mean, that's the problem. We got to get it solved, and I know it seems like you really want to get it done. I know you do, so let's just make it happen.
Can I ask you a question? With boosters, and I know they're not here, are they, I'm not sure exactly legally what their status is as a 501c3. Are they able to make payments for, or purchases for items, like I know they owe their portion, I don't know, whatever, but they need to pay their portion of the speakers. Are they able to make payments for?
They can do business. They can
Okay, so they can do business, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They just can't receive donations, you said?
They can receive donations, it's just not going to, we're not going to be able to say it's tax deductible.
Yeah,
Got it.
so whoever's making the donation can't receive the 501c3 letter that they can then take it, at least not now. So the question I have then, so.
And that's been clear with the bank, it's been clear
Yeah.
with the attorney. As soon as they submit that, like 1023, that goes to the IRS at that point, then we would be able to accept those donations and count it under the 501.
Yeah, so I apologize, I didn't mean to cut you off, but in absence of that space, we have a donation from a community member who happens to be a school board member that, we tonight can either go and approve just in one fell swoop, both donations, because there are two donations here, or that's one option. The second option is to wait for the boosters to see where they're at. The third option is to split it down the middle and approve the varsity and JV basketball team warm-ups, and then come back to the weight machine or the squat rack. So I will entertain a motion in either of that space so that we can move forward.
So if the squat rack is at my shop, just let it sit there. If you don't agree with it, and I can just do whatever I want with it, or what? I mean,
Well,
it can sit
Mr.
there for
Rhodes,
months.
what they indicate is if that option, it's about waiting to see if the Boosters Club will adopt that, because the time requirement for that has a different level of urgency compared to warm-ups for kids who are in season. So just to clarify,
I
it's
understand,
a
but the squat
deferment.
rack, everything's been paid for.
Okay, well,
Done. So whatever you decide, it's all been paid for. It's for the kids. I don't, just.
Okay, so I will entertain any motion that you want to put out there, or the administration is requesting board approval for the donations by Mr. Frank Rhodes to the KCHS Athletic Department. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to pull out the warm-ups and approve those as a separate donation item this evening.
I'll second that.
And so, for question and comments, just so I'm clear, you're pulling the JV or the varsity and JV basketball team warm-ups out to approve the donation and not the squat rack at this point.
At this time,
With-
correct.
The caveat that the squat rack will be revisited? I mean, when we meet again, I'm thinking it'll be resolved one way or the other, right?
You could add pending, no, never mind.
So if they approve the squat rack tomorrow night, then it can be delivered to the team? If the boosters approves it, even though they're illegal?
It's going to have to come back here.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
would
gosh.
approve
That's another
the
month.
boosters purchasing it. They wouldn't be approving your donation of it.
You're right, Francois. If they approve it, they're paying for it.
Right.
It's already paid for, though.
But
So what do they pay me back, and then they'll pay it? I mean, how does this work?
they may want to get their own squat rack, so it is, the ball is in their court on,
They may want to accept the donation.
they may want to accept it.
Instead of the school system, the boosters might want to accept the donation.
No, I'm glad I didn't deliver to the school. It's going to be delivered to my business, and whatever you guys want to do is fine. It'll be sitting there. I don't want it to get damaged outside, but it's a pretty big machine, so.
Okay, so thank you. We have a motion and a second. Are there any additional comments or questions? Not hearing any, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'll oppose.
Okay.
Gail, do you need another reading of the
Just
modified
bear-
motion?
bear-
I make the motion as Mrs. Sullivan made the motion to accept the donation of the warm-ups only.
Correct.
Mrs. Lee seconded. How did this vote go again?
I voted aye.
Yeah, we have 4 ayes,
What did you
1
vote?
opposed.
Okay. Yeah, it was
Do you need a
4.
roll call? Are we okay? Okay. So the amended motion has been approved. We'll move on to the Rotary Club donation to Makerspace.
So administration is requesting board approval for the Rotary Club donation for Makerspace. The Rotary Club of Chestertown, Maryland has donated $2,000 to be used for Makerspace at Kent County Public Schools. So administration is requesting board approval of this donation.
Okay, as Ms. Stewart has mentioned, the administration is requesting board approval for the Rotary Club donation for Makerspace of $2,000. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Edwards. Any further comments or questions? In the absence of those comments and questions, we will go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the KCMS tobacco grant.
So this, so we are requesting, board approval for the fiscal year 2025 mini tobacco grant in the amount of $5,000. The Kent County Health Department has awarded the Kent County Middle School in the amount of $5,000 for the mini tobacco grant for 2025, and this grant will be used to purchase supplies and assist with community awareness for tobacco. So administration is requesting board approval for the fiscal year 2025 mini tobacco grant.
As Ms. Stewart mentioned, this is an action item. The administration is requesting board approval for the fiscal year 2025 mini tobacco grant. Do we have a motion to approve?
I just have a question, and I'm sure it's obvious because it says it's the fiscal year 2025. We have to use the entirety of the $5,000 grant in this school year?
Yes, correct. But that may be pending because it's coming from the Kent County Health Department, so whoever the funding agency is at the time, we have other funding sources that we were, from the Kent County Health Department, we were able to use as carryover, but at this time, what I'm aware is it just is for 2025.
Okay.
But it could be possibly.
That it carries
Yeah.
over? Okay, great. Thank you.
Sorry. What are the supplies that are going to be purchased? Is it just in general, like you don't have a specific list, or?
As of now, we don't have a specific list. It pretty much is just awareness for tobacco. So we've received, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we received other grants similar to this. So it's the supplies for like posters, or if there's any awareness, it may be bracelets that has some awareness logo that's on it. So different items like that, that will be used for it.
And just to be clear, it's an anti-tobacco grant. I just want to be clear, as we're promoting not becoming tobacco addicted.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you for the clarification.
Making me nice.
Okay, sorry, we'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the fiscal year 2025 mini tobacco grant by Ms. Sullivan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McGee has a second. Any further comments, questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. Okay, the next item is the comprehensive maintenance plan.
Good evening, board members, Dr. McComas.
Good evening.
I'm here this evening to provide an update to the board of the comprehensive maintenance plan for Kent County Public Schools. The comprehensive maintenance plan is established to develop, maintain, and/or improve the maintenance program of the public school system to support the delivery of educational programs and services in safe and healthy environments as effectively and efficiently as possible. In summary, the comprehensive maintenance plan must be updated and reviewed each year. Attached, you will find a copy of the maintenance plan for your review and approval. This is an action item, so the Director of Operations recommends approval of the comprehensive maintenance plan.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Wheeler?
I just wondered,
I was going to say, just in general, were there
Yes,
any
ma'am.
significant changes or
So
updates that you thought we
yes,
should know
so if you
about?
look at our 5-year deferment plan,
Okay.
take a look at that section there. Those were the changes. The tennis courts was on here for a couple of years. Of course, the tennis courts, that project is completed now.
Okay.
So we're looking at doing an upgrade of lighting at Kent County High School. All the other schools are getting the LED lights.
Right,
Kent County
yeah,
High School doesn't qualify, of course, so that is one thing we're going to put on our 5-year plan.
Okay.
Also looking at upgrading our system, our HVAC systems, so that they can all talk. And we have one person, we'll have like one person being able to program everything and not have to run each individual school to get the heat and air running
Yeah,
for
okay.
more efficiency.
All righty.
And also put that in my budget, as Dr. McComas can tell you, as a budget item for the operations.
We just discussed it last week.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How come the high school does not qualify for, they need lighting in there?
Because they're not on Delmarva, they're on Chop Tank.
They're on Chop Tank.
So the grant is for Delmarva customers.
Is it,
And then we've tried, we've looked, we've tried to search for some other things, but at this point, there's nothing else we
what
can
kind of
do.
money are you talking to put LED lighting in there?
I'm thinking about $250,000. That is to upgrade the entire school. That's hallways, classrooms, common areas.
And there's no way you can switch from Choptank, you're locked in.
It's the way the darn line is
Yes.
right out there in Wharton. It's residential as well as the school system. It's wacky.
Yes, so there's nothing we can do about it. We've tried, yes, sir. We've looked at other avenues as well.
The other thing is, have you ever thought of addressing the entrance for the students when they come in? That whole entrance would be nice if it could just be redone and look better. It's just like...
Which entrance are you talking? I'm sorry,
Where
sir.
all the students come, where the buses drop them off in the morning. It'd be nice to have that upgraded a little bit. It's just like just could use some help, that's all. Is that
And did that come out of like I said, we had just had
Is that your...
But that's not in our comprehensive maintenance plan, but I mean, that's something that you can suggest.
Well,
And we could possibly put it in there for next year, and we could all sit down and take a look at
We
it.
have a nice school, new roof and all that, and the entrance just needs help, that's all.
I don't disagree.
And I heard years ago, someone wanted to donate a new entrance, and the school, they turned it down, so just be nice if that...
I'm not aware of
They
that.
may not have followed proper procedure. That's all I can say. Proper procedure.
They didn't go through the boosters.
Thanks, I'm not aware of that, sir.
I understand.
It's a great thing to
Okay.
talk about during the budget next year.
So I just want to say, I read the entire document.
I wrote it.
The-
I'm sorry, okay.
Thank you.
The work you're doing is impressive with the resources you have in the facilities, the age of the facilities. So it's clear that thoughtful care and planning goes into the work that you and your staff are doing, and I want to commend you for that, and thank you for the outstanding care of our buildings that you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, this is an action item. The administration is recommending approval of the comprehensive maintenance plan. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Rhodes. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Swanson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Power School Sole Source. Ms. Stewart.
Is this the thing we're talking about?
All right. This is from my area, my final request. For request for board approval for the Power School sole source purchase request. Currently, Kent County Public Schools with technology and finance, we utilize Power School for our program. So, for example, in finance, we have e-finance. Technology uses Power School in various capacities. And so we are looking at getting additional add-ons to assist us greatly. And one of those add-ons would assist us with HR, moving HR fully to Power School. Right now, we use Frontline. And then there's other needs that will assist with instructional analytics and data. So, the total amount of the contract for these additional service requests is $107,231.68 for implementing all these requests. Now, we're planning to move forward to implement a portion of that, and that is going to cost us $16,855.87 for fiscal year '25. However, these requests, we're looking to have everything completed by July 1 of 2026. So that will be, that will definitely be of the remainder of that 107 after the 16.8. Going forward, the ongoing cost is going to be $90,375.81, but we're looking to absorb that by swapping out like the current vendors that we're using so we can do it with Power School. Now, Power School has a sole source letter that they provide to us that explicitly says they're the only ones that can do it. They are a sole source. And so we are bringing that to the board's attention so that you all can approve it. And then so you are aware, with us going to Power School, they're really the only vendor that we can use that's specific to the needs that we currently use from them for Kent County Public Schools. So administration is requesting board approval of the Power School sole source purchase request, and if you have any questions.
What is the difference in cost between the services that Power School will provide and Frontline currently?
So essentially, that will be about, I would say about 40 to possibly 60,000 maybe worth of savings. Right now, we're utilizing Frontline. That's collectively with everything. If we just look at HR, that's about maybe 10 to 20,000 savings because we're utilizing Frontline, which is like 40, 45,000 versus Power School maybe like 30,000 that will have to use.
And as, I guess, primary staff, I'm going to ask you and Mr. Hushin, how do you feel about using a sole source Power School for the work that you do?
We 100% support it. Because we are on two different systems that don't speak to us.
Okay.
There are many manual processes that take place. This will allow the departments within the systems to speak to each other, and it will completely allow manual processes that are currently happening.
And the ongoing cost of the 90,000 will be an annual cost?
Yes.
That was my question.
And that's
Okay.
collective, if I'm not mistaken.
So just to be clear, the funds that we're currently spending for these other products, as we stand those down and migrate everything to Power School, those funds would then be redirected to cover the cost of Power School.
Does Power School help with the migration of data from those current systems to their system? Or is that
No.
something that you're going to have to do manually?
They won't help.
There's an implementation phase that we will have a lot of time in the direction of, like,
Yikes.
Yeah.
there is training and support
Okay.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
they'll
it's-
provide to us up front. We do have a timeline process.
We have a
Yes.
whole project
Covered that over the
management plan.
next year and a half. We're not going to do the whole system change all at once. It is going to be a staggered implementation.
Have fun with that, Mr. Poor.
Yes.
And team.
And just to note, because I do think that is important to note, with everything going with Blueprint and the requirements, the state of Maryland's, their vendor is Power School as well. So
Okay.
there's also reporting requirements behind what we have to do with Blueprint, and we're in that
So,
direction
basically
with
the
moving
Power School.
forward.
Okay,
It
great.
makes sense. Okay, this is an action item. Administration is requesting board approval of the Power School sole source purchase request. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McGee has the second. Any further comments or questions?
Ms. Sullivan?
Yeah, Ms. Sullivan has the motion. Ms. McGee has the second. Any additional comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we are moving into public participation. Ms. Gale? And to summarize the instructions, we have, each speaker will have 3 minutes. When you start speaking, I will go ahead and start the timer, and I'll give you a 30-second window, a high five, and then we'll be good to wrap it up. Okay, first one up is Dr. Fluke. I am actually just resetting the timer, so I'm not starting, so please. Very good.
Dr. McComas, President Getz, members of the board, I'm here to give some thanks also. I'm not going to be as eloquent as Mr. Swanson was, or as Ms. Swanson was, actually. I don't speak that well on these matters, but I really, first of all, want to thank everybody on the board for their service. I need particularly to thank President Getz. You've really been an outstanding leader. Calm, you're focused. Somebody used the word steady. You're strong on procedures. You get stuff done. You've been an outstanding board president. Really provided great service to the students, families, and staff of Kent County Public Schools. Thank you, Joe. Francoise Sullivan, you've been a really strong member of the board. You are always so well prepared. You do your homework. You just this evening you mentioned you read the entire report. You always do that. You have a balanced approach to every issue. You contribute to the discussion. You've been an outstanding member of the board. You've really made a major contribution to the great progress that we're making as a school system. Thank you, Francoise.
Thank you.
I wish everybody a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, the next speaker we have is Ms. Stewart.
All right, I would be remiss if I didn't give you well wishes, Ms. Francois and President Getz, for my 4.5 years that I've been here at Kent County Public Schools. I believe possibly 2 of that would have probably been with Ms. Francois, but all of it was with you, President Getz. Both of you have been phenomenal, great to work with, and I definitely wanted to let you know that I appreciate you. I thank you so much for your service. I wish you so well, but, please come back and visit us. Please come back and visit us. It will be different going forward, but I want you all to know from me that I definitely appreciate you, your encouraging words, and even your thought-taking and thought-working progress. I definitely enjoyed it, and definitely is a pleasure. I will definitely miss both of you, but thank you all so much, and I wish you so much success and just happiness in your endeavors. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the notification of the next meeting. The next regularly scheduled monthly meeting of the Board of Education of Kent County will be held on January 13th, 2025, beginning at 5 p.m. Open session, 5:30 p.m. Thank you. Open session. It is 5. It is 5. 5 p.m. it is. Thank you. Open session will be immediately followed by, I don't think it was in those conversations.
Right.
Open session will be immediately followed by the board members going into closed session. The open session will resume at 6:30 p.m. This meeting will be located at the administrative building in the boardroom here at 5608 Boundary Avenue, Rock Hall, Maryland, 21661. Before I call to adjourn, I would just ask that if the board members would give us just a couple minutes to get a couple pictures here in front. I would really appreciate that as a group. That would be great, Ms. Swanson, as well, if you can please stick for just a couple seconds to be in the picture. I think we would really appreciate that. Okay, the last item on the agenda, the administration is recommending approval to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ms. Sullivan, a second by Ms. McGee. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ms. Swanson?
Aye.
The ayes have it. This meeting is adjourned. Happy holidays, everyone.